Hello viewers, I'm Dr. Angie. I recently made an Andrew Tate reaction video and then YouTube started recommending me more of his videos and I came across this video named Andrew Tate interview by George Janko Part 1. I don't know anything about this podcaster, but it had a lot of views, I think around 2 million in maybe 1 to 2 days. So I got intrigued and I clicked on it and I was pleasantly surprised because the podcaster did an excellent job and asked some very good questions. Okay, so now let's get started.
Season 1 of the George Janko Show is coming to an end. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I gotta thank every one of you guys that have been watching. It is literally a dream. I'm waking up every single day and I can't believe what we're doing.
The reason this interview is so different than Piers Morgan interview is in Piers Morgan, it was a journalist to a person he was interviewing, and in this interview you can see like two men who can relate on topics and things that they don't relate on, they still understand the other's point of view, and it's very evident that their rapport was really good. So in medicine there's a physician-patient rapport. So rapport means how is the relationship between a physician and patient, and it is extremely important in psychiatry. In fact, it is so important that it has shown that a patient who has good rapport with their physician tends to do good with treatment. So that's what I saw. The rapport between these two guys was very good, most probably because of the respect they have for each other, and it just made the whole session doesn't seem like an interview. It seemed like they are talking about different topics, and the pace of the interview, the energy between these two was just perfect.
Season 2 is gonna even be bigger, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, because we're coming in hot next year.
So I did not know anything about George Janko, and after this I read some comments and I got intrigued and I saw a video that made me realize that he had another podcast with a couple of other guys and he was actually made fun of in that podcast. So he decided to start his own. This is one prime example of a person who is not appreciated, respected, and valued in one situation, end up leaving and start something of his own that he truly loves and is passionate about, and it's his style, and end up just like blowing up on the internet. So it's never too late to leave a situation where you are not valued, because we all should understand that we are worth way more and there's no need for someone to make us feel worthless.
The George Janko Show, and thank you for ending season 1. What a great season. What a great season. I brought my notes, bro, because I didn't want to come all the way to Romania and then like forget. So if you see me looking, don't.
Yeah, it's a long way to come. You know, it's kind of the forgotten part of the world. I'm not Romanian, but I certainly put Romania on the map. I don't feel like anyone talked about Romania ever.
Ever. And why did you come here?
I just want to say, like, I got a previous quotation of why Andrew Tate moved to Romania. Actually, I had that question too, and I have seen different answers, but he has said, according to the Google search and Wikipedia, that he moved Romania in quotations because he liked living in countries where corruption is accessible for everybody. Let's see what answer he gives here.
I decided to leave the West. I can give you a very happy, funny answer. Do you want happy, funny Andrew, or do you want serious, the world is ending Andrew?
Let's
two different versions.
Let's start. I want both. I want both versions of you.
Sure. Well, I think that the Western world is in serious decline, and that literally in real time you can see it falling apart. So you have to find somewhere else to live, and the world's not really that big.
I definitely don't agree with his statement. Western world is not declining. People are moving from all over the East to the West because of things that they see in Western world. But obviously there are some negatives that comes with living in the West too that I have seen. But I can definitely give it my opinion because I grew up in Pakistan and then I moved here in my early 20s. So I have seen both sides, and I can just say that living in a country like Pakistan, women harassment is just so bad over there. It is so bad. So I definitely feel more protected here. Obviously, it's not 100%. Women get harassed and they are encountering dangerous situations everywhere, but it's way less here compared to in countries in the East. especially I can say in Pakistan where I grew up.
So it's like, how do you fix all of that? So I decided to move to Eastern Europe, and I had a very good time here, and I was treated very well, and it's a very safe place, and it's a beautiful country. I've been through some recently things changed a bit. I think
Yeah,
most
you
people
get
know
out of your
about that.
house.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, I'm allowed out my house. Yeah, that's nice.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what's the first thing you did when you got out of your house?
My first day off of house arrest, I stayed in the house.
That's fucking weird, man.
I know, but it was a sign of resistance.
Oh, you wanted to prove that you could keep going.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like you're flexing all the time. Like, is there like if I was on house arrest, who the fuck are you flexing for? Just leave. And anything, you could have lied and be like, no, I stayed for an extra 3 days. But like you stayed.
I stayed.
I've made several reaction videos on Andrew Tate, so I know how his mind works a little. He is all about control. He needs to have control over the situation. So when authorities tell him he can leave or he's allowed to leave, if he would have left that day, it means that he is taking orders from them. But he still wanted to maintain his control over the situation. That's why he left the house when he felt like leaving after he is allowed. So that's why he didn't leave at that time.
Or is it for your... No, I was just joking about the lie.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it in my notes because I know that you don't like lying.
This is the biggest surprise for me, that Andrew Tate doesn't like lying, because I have seen him making statements and bragging about his lies so many times. And I'm going to explain a little more. But this is really good. And because of this, actually, the podcaster earned my respect.
I have a story about lying. I was, I'm not going to mention his name out of respect for him, but he took me on his jet. We were having a great time. We were about to do business together.
Yep.
We were courtside. And he made a comment about one of the basketball players. He's like, well, he's a little bitch because he told his teammate was cheating and got him in a scandal. Yeah. And I said, well, the other man was cheating. He was lying. Yeah. And he turns to me and he goes, if you have a problem doing business with people that cheat, you'll never work. And I, one, stopped immediately wanting to work with this guy. Two, my provider is God, nobody else. Yeah. So it comes with morals. Yep. If you're gonna cheat on a woman that you're building a life with and being fruitful with, what the fuck are you gonna do to me?
Well, that's very true, and that's very valid. But I'll play devil's advocate here. What the other guy said about if you have problems doing business with somebody who cheats, you're never gonna do any business. Unfortunately, he's also pretty right. Because it's rife.
Not with partners, though.
I definitely see both of their point of view, but I can see why the podcaster, it feels so strongly about not doing business with anyone who cheats, is because he thinks successful men are capable of doing that. But contrary to him, like Andrew Tate doesn't think wealthy or successful men are capable of monogamy.
But I'll play devil's advocate here. What the other guy said about if you have problems doing business with somebody who cheats, you're never going to do any business. Unfortunately, he's also pretty right.
So here he means that there is no monogamous people who are doing business. There are not too many successful men left who will stay monogamous. So I definitely see that point of view too, and that, as he always say, he is a realist, and there is truth to that. Actually, I always question, are men even capable of staying monogamous?
It's
but
rife.
Not with partners, though. I don't feel like you want to get in business with a partner. I mean, think about this. He shares a family bloodline with the person that he's robbing. I'm nothing to him.
Exactly. If a person can cheat on their partner, who they have developed a family with, who they are in love with, if they can cheat on that person, just imagine what they can do with you. It just shows moral values.
For me, my girl, right? She's my partner. Yeah. I couldn't focus if I had to come do this interview with you and I know she's out somewhere. Now I have to think about what she's doing. It's taking away from me. Yeah. So if I'm breaking bread with a man and I'm doing business with him, I can't sit around wasting my time thinking about what he's doing.
And you're completely right. And I totally understand that. But as a honest individual, I have to sit here and be honest and analyze myself and analyze my own romantic relationships. Am I completely faithful in the traditional sense? No. Why is that? That's a good question. I can't say exactly why that is, but I think that probably the biggest decline in the Western world I have to accept, even though I partake in it and even though I am guilty of it. I think the biggest failing of the Western world is that men and women do not stick together anymore.
So when he's saying faithful, I don't know if his partner is aware, and you Tate, but a person like him, does his partner know that he's not going to stay monogamous? And if she knows and is aware of it and is consenting to be in relationship with it, then it's not betrayal. Betrayal or cheating is when you are telling your partner that you are going to stay faithful, and behind her or his back, you are cheating.
I think it would fix a lot of problems.
I find that very fascinating that that's the problem. You teach men to be better men and to fix their problems. Don't run away from it. But that monogamy is a challenge for you, but you don't want to...
It's not a challenge. Monogamy is not a challenge for him.
So here you'll see that he's saying it's not a challenge for him, but seems like then again he is saying in the past, and later on you'll see, he is making a point that monogamy is a challenge for men. And when they are able to afford women, like when they are at a certain level of success, they always do. I wouldn't use always, they usually do. Then it is a challenge. And it's like the reason he said no is because, of course, he does not want to accept any challenges above him because he never have any challenges or he can handle all his challenges. I treat patients with addiction in my practice, and I see that all the time. Like the awareness is not there for the challenges we are facing. So a lot of my patients who are dealing with addiction, when I ask them for craving, a majority of them say, no, we don't have cravings. And then I ask them, then why are you not able to stop that substance or drug if you don't have a craving and you want to? Why you keep going back to that drug? That is craving. And exactly that's what he is doing here. So it seems like women are an addiction for men, and they are unable to stay faithful to one when there are temptations out there. So he's exactly saying that it's not a challenge. He's just not aware of it.
This woman is worth me being monogamous too, which is fine. I think the biggest struggle that men have in the Western world today is finding a woman who they believe is worth being monogamous to. I don't think men have a problem with monogamy as much as men have a problem finding a woman who they truly believe they should be monogamous to.
If a person has moral values and he or she is not able to find a person, or if they are with someone and they think that person is not worth being monogamous with, then just be straight up with that person that it's not an exclusive relationship, and then there's no cheating. It all comes down to moral values. Are you lying and deceiving the other person into thinking that you are staying loyal and monogamous and they are worth all of this, but inside you are just basically using them and just saying these things to them so they feel that you are offering that, but you are not.
In days of old, high-value men, important men, kings, warriors, whatever, had multiple wives. And they had to look after the multiple wives, or they had mistresses, and they had children with them all, and they had to look after them all. In certain cultures today, that is still the case. In certain religions today, that is still the case. In the Christian world, in the Western world, we have said that's unacceptable, we should be monogamous.
Yeah.
But then you have the majority of men who are monogamous are cheating. The ones who are not cheating are using prostitutes sometimes, or going to strip clubs sometimes, or consuming pornography.
Here, I do want to add that monogamy is not a problem for men. It is a problem for women too. So I'm going to share some more examples little later on. Let's listen more.
So they're not truly, actually loyal. So you've moved the idea of a man having 3 or 4 women he loves and taking care of to a man having one woman he's supposed to love and doing a whole bunch of things in secret. You've just subsidized monogamy.
So from what I understand, in older times when men have like multiple wives, but they were just like, they have hundreds of wives and they were just like sleeping with a lot of women. So if a man is just sleeping with 3, 4 women he loved, does it make him more likely to stay monogamous to those women? So we just don't know.
Towards pornography and degeneracy. So then you have to sit and argue, well, why does so much degeneracy happen in the West? Is it because we are not allowing men to be more true to their instincts?
So here, again, he's saying that man's instinct is not to be monogamous. And I want to again add that monogamy is a challenge both for men and women. And I grew up in Pakistan, and where it was deeply ingrained in me that women are monogamous and men aren't. So that's like how a woman's instinct is to be monogamous and a man's instinct is not to be monogamous. But I was just shocked when I came here and I started practicing psychiatry. In my training, I learned that there are so many women who cheat as well. So what I have seen is that women cheat as much as men, but they are just smart and don't get caught. They get away with it. Men usually do get caught. And if you like see a lot of research, they are similarly, even I don't know if you see like all those articles, men may be a little higher, but are women being truthful in saying that they haven't cheated? It's just because the stigma towards a woman cheating is way more than a man. If a man is cheating, he's just like, oh yeah, his basic instinct, he's successful, he should be able to have multiple women. But for women, the stigma is so strong that they usually just don't say that they are cheating, but it's very common in women too. In my experience, both women and men cheat equally. I actually see more women cheating.
Let's look at another example, right?
Well, before, can I
Sure.
tap in with that? So what's your example, right? So I have an example, Christ. He gives me his way,
Yep.
and I kind of follow it.
Yep.
If I had to follow men and their needs, I'd be burned up tomorrow.
And I don't think it's needs. I don't think men cheat because of needs. I think
Well, okay. Women cheat because of like feelings, they get an emotional attachment to them. Men cheat because of more lustful body type thing. I've never heard of a man being like, man, I can't wait to talk to Becky.
of course, but I think a lot of it's also ego.
Yeah, but ego is a need too. He's saying the same thing, but he's just not aware of what it is. What I have seen, men and women cheat for very different reasons. So when a woman is cheating, usually she is done with her partner. She's not emotionally invested, she's checked out, she's not in love. Her emotional needs are not being met. When she's always fall in love, I wouldn't say always, she usually falls in love with the person she's cheating with because that person is fulfilling her emotional needs. However, men, it's completely the other way around. I've seen men in love with their wives, but still they will cheat on them with girls they have no regard for. So I've seen like men usually cheat for lust and for like temptations, bodily temptations. And definitely I agree with Tate here that ego is a big part of it, ego and validation. But again, that is a need.
Exactly. So, but ego, what comes before ego? Or it comes after ego?
Yeah, a fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is, yes, when I met here's my theory.
Yeah.
When I was out about and I was having fun, as a Christian man, I was waiting for the right woman.
Yeah.
And I came to this guy and he goes, I don't understand. I thought you were Christian. And I go, listen, bro, I'll be a good Christian man to a good Christian woman. When I find somebody who has good morals and I know that she'll have my back and she'll do good, and when God presents me that girl, I will be a good man to her. And he asked me something that changed my life forever. He goes, well, if you're the son of God and you're asking for his daughter, why would that father ever give you a daughter when you treat everybody else like garbage?
Exactly. So if any person want to attract a high value, amazing, fine partner, they have to become that person first in order to attract that partner. You cannot be like treating people really badly and expect someone to come in your life who see your value and worth. And did you see like Andrew Tate? Seems like he is provoking insight and thoughtfulness in him too by making that statement.
And so I think when it comes to blessings, I believe that it's given from God.
Yep.
And to move on to new blessings, you have to handle what you've been given.
Agreed.
So if I've been given the fame and the money and the access to women, God's monitoring me. Okay, are you going to go fool around, act like trash?
Can you be trusted?
Could you be trusted?
And that is so true. We get tested by power, wealth, success, because with all those things come greater responsibility.
So if I've been given the fame and the money and the access to women, God's monitoring me. Okay, are you going to go fool around, act like trash?
Can you be trusted?
Could you be trusted with this daughter that I have over here?
Yes.
Kind of like that picture where Jesus is holding a beautiful bear behind him, and then you're holding on to this lifestyle that you still want, but you're like, this is great. And God's like, no, give it to me. Show me you're ready for it, and then I'll present it, like any good father would be.
Yes, absolutely.
And I did. I cleaned up my act. I was celibate, and I was showing him I'm trying now to be ready.
Yep.
And then I found a beautiful girl, and then I became monogamous.
Yep.
And then I have a good partnership.
100%. I think guy who is capable of leading his girl can lead that girl in either right or wrong direction. That is so true.
I'm in charge of this relationship. God is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So when my girl looks at me to lead the house, I gotta lead the house, but it's not from my needs.
Yeah.
Because if it was my needs, bro, she's out shit cold. That like she's not gonna get the best out of it.
Of course.
But now I have a God looking at me and monitoring it. You gotta love her like you love my church.
No, absolutely. Everything you're saying is completely true, and I agree with you. There's two ways we can answer the question. We can talk about it from a religious perspective and what you just described, and you're right, being a God-fearing man is going to lead a woman in the correct direction because a woman is a reflection of her man, and that's why you see if a woman gets with a bad guy who does drugs, she ends up doing drugs and doing bad things.
Don't you remember what he said earlier? There are not many women in the Western world who are worth staying monogamous for, but here he is saying that women are a reflection of their man and they can be led in any direction. That I agree. Usually women are always a reflection of their man in a relationship. And why is he not leading those women in right direction instead of just waiting for the right women to come? Because it's in his hand. He can do it.
She comes from our ribs, metaphorically and physically and mentally, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna be, like you're saying, doing drugs, she's gonna follow my lead.
Absolutely. But I'm just talking about it from a societal perspective. I'm making an overall societal observation, the fact that now we have monogamous societies, but because they're not truly monogamous, all of the desire is being outsourced towards degeneracy, as opposed to having a society where a man is allowed more than one wife, for example, and then the degeneracy isn't needed. You don't need pornography and you don't need prostitution if you're allowed to have 2, 3, 4 wives if you're successful. And the point I was going to make earlier is that in certain countries, this is still the case.
Again, this become a very misogynistic perspective. And I know Tate fans are not going to like it, but it is what it is, because he's looking at the human instinct is not to be monogamous and making it only men's instinct, because it's a human instinct. Staying monogamous is not easy. If a couple is choosing to stay monogamous, they are choosing each other every single day. They are disciplining themselves and are not putting themselves in situations where they are tempted.
They came along and said, your grandma's going to die. The old people, your grandma, your grandma. They used emotional arguments to create fear. That works on a woman. A woman sits there, I love my grandma. Most men would sit there and go, wait.
Let's just chill.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Grandma's already 94. Grandmas die. So I don't think we should be taking our kids out of school. Let's just calm down. Men are more stoic and more patient. If you had a household where the man's been feminized and the woman's in charge, it's over for that house. They're full COVID cucks head to toe.
No, I do agree. I agree with that 100%. And that's what I just don't understand. I agree with that. If a household has to run really well, the man has to lead. Okay, but it doesn't mean that he just is dismissive to his women. He can be the king and she can be the queen. And those houses run very well where a man is leading. I've seen where women are leading, it's just not a good example of a family.
If you had my household, where my girlfriend ran in, did you see the news? Shh. Shut up. It's stupid.
Okay,
and then it's fixed.
Wait.
But this is the point. Fear. You're
yes.
talking about fear, the devil using fear. Absolutely correct. How does he scare people? He scares cowards. He scares people who can't fight. He scares women. He scares people who are not prepared to stand up and resist. So masculine empowerment is absolutely and utterly how you battle the devil. You need men to be as strong and capable as possible.
Okay. This is a great pivot that I want to say. Everything you just said, I agreed with.
So true. Because he's saying the right thing. That is the thing. And Tate says the right things, but in a really wrong way.
Everything you just said, I agreed with. The only problem that I see is when you were like, shut up. Let me give you an example. Here's the reason why. Everything you just said was absolutely correct. And as a man, I could look at you, and if I had children, I'd be like, yo, listen to this man. He's being very, very correct. Now, my girl's going to be like, well, why did he just tell his girl to shut the fuck up?
I said shush.
Yes. But okay, let me give you an example.
I was dismissive with my hand.
That's exactly the point I'm making, that a good leader understand, that his woman, she is more emotional. She has fears. 100% correct. Just be aware of all of that and just provide support to her. Why you have to be dismissive? A good leader is not going to be dismissive and disrespectful. He's going to understand the shortcomings that naturally women have and just work with it in a positive manner.
I know, but you know what this means?
Flicking the diamonds.
Get the fuck out of my face. This is what every girl here. Shut up and go make me a sandwich. This is what comes off. So you're fighting getting men to be like yes, but then you turn off the women. Here's the problem. You're trying to make men more men, but men before they listen to you are listening to the girls because they just got a girl. They don't want to lose them. They did everything that they could to get this girl.
Correct.
So here's the thing. When you see a fireman bust into a building that's on fire, he's not going to look at the person and be like, what the fuck? Why did you do this? He's going to be like, hey, it's okay. Look at me, grab my hand, come out.
Yeah, that's what a good leader will do. Just be aware of the shortcomings of the other person and provide support and lead. Not be dismissive or disrespectful or put them down.
I think I am. And it's actually funny when you say I lose to women, because I'll tell you something that most people probably do not know. I don't know if I've said it before. I have never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I blew up on the internet. I've not had a single woman complain at me.
Maybe they have this fear. Who will say bad things to a kickboxer? He just said women do have more fear.
I've never had a single woman complain about anything I say.
Okay, so I really don't know if we live in the same world, but I've seen women complain about him all the time, and for exactly this reason. I'm going to share a video with you. I just searched women react to Tate shorts. And the first one that came that I have like 7.3 million views 1 year ago. Let's watch it.
Do you know who Andrew Tate is?
I hate that guy. If you are listening, Andrew Tate, you are weird. Trafficker. I'm gonna find you and peg you, Andrew Tate, and stick it in your... Don't even with me, bro. You are a loser.
Andrew Tate, get the over it. Move on with your life. I don't listen to both men.
Ugly. You suck. I hate you. I think he's a little bitch boy.
He's a face and he can go himself.
Why they angry? He's speaking reality. Why you gonna get mad? Cause he's telling you to treat me like a king.
So he sums it up. Did you see, like, he is telling men they are kings, but he's not telling them to treat their women as queens. That's where the problem is.
Dismissive, the diamonds, in the light. I get it.
Yeah.
Is it purposeful? I don't want to say it's purposeful. Do I find myself amusing? Certainly.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's funny.
Actually, it's outrageous, but it is hilarious too. Andrew Tate is very hilarious and really entertaining. That's one of the reasons he's so popular. But if he's aware of it, we just don't know if it's his true mindset or he is doing this just to get polarity. Controversy, because controversial people always get more successful and more famous than non-controversial people, and because of his controversial statements he became this popular this quick. And he did hit on that mindset of men that they have to be treated like king. Nothing wrong with that. A girl should treat his man like a king, but she should be treated like a queen as well.
Yeah.
But females, like you said, they're based off of emotions.
Correct.
They're going to feel their emotions first and then react. Men are like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. Obviously, he's not going to tell his girl to do that. Yeah. Most likely, the real scenario is like, sweetheart, come sit down. Everything's fine. Listen to me. I'm going to protect you.
Absolutely.
So I'm just curious to know, why don't you just take that approach? Because I know you know what you're doing. You're a chess master. Every move you make, you're making it for a reason. Are you doing it to be polarizing?
There's no light without dark. And I think that it's actually kind of interesting. I don't have many haters anymore. For a while I did. About a year ago, there was a big group of the internet that disliked me.
When he's saying he does not have any haters anymore, in the beginning, of course, he has toned down maybe a tiny bit. But the reason he doesn't see he has haters anymore is that people are used to his outrageous statement. If you see a giraffe or a zebra come in your living room, the first day, you'll be shocked. But if you see the same giraffe or same zebra coming in your living room every single day, after 2 years, you'll be immune to it. So it's not that he doesn't have that many haters, but his haters are just immune to all the outrageous statements he's going to make. And majority of the people, including myself, do think that he makes excellent points. Like 60 to 70% of the time, he's making excellent eye-opening points, but on the rest of the time he isn't. But that's why it becomes so dangerous, because a lot of people are just blindly agreeing on everything he's saying.
I think our last valuation across everything we own we're almost at B now. So we're doing very, very, yeah. I'm a billionaire. Top G's a billionaire. So we're doing extremely well. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's great that you say that, because I completely agree. Because if you're born with everything, if you're born with all this money, that you have no aspiration, nothing to actually grasp onto and trying to achieve, then money doesn't make you happy. But then you can analyze this from another angle, right? We were just talking earlier, we can always pivot back to who the matrix are, who's in charge.
I do agree, and there are a lot of studies that have shown that too. Money do bring people happiness, but up to a certain level. There was a study done by Princeton University, I believe in 2010, and it showed that up to $75,000 a year, money does bring happiness. But after that, it plateaus. But recent studies have shown that money does bring happiness to people. However, there are certain people who are just unhappy and money doesn't bring happiness. There are like surveys that have shown that money with purpose bring happiness.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you're born into a dynasty, let's say a banking dynasty, and you're born a billionaire, and you have everything you've ever wanted ever, and money has absolutely no value at all, and a brand new Ferrari doesn't mean a thing. You could buy one every 10 minutes for the rest of your life. And money doesn't make you happy. What's the one thing that's going to make you happy?
Controlling others.
Controlling others. Power.
Yeah.
Ego. So then you sit there and start looking at things.
Because
and going,
games become real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, well, money doesn't satisfy me. What makes me feel important?
Okay, so power and control, especially for men, I have seen in my experience is very important. And I don't know if it makes them happy, but it definitely boosts their ego and provides the validation they are looking for. So I definitely agree with his statement here. The interview is really long, then they talk about depression and how it's not a disease, and I've already made several videos on it, so I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again. But overall, it was a really entertaining and interview, very well done. My viewers, please let me know if there's certain thing you want me to answer, or feel free to disagree with me or agree with me and drop it in the comment section. Once the part 2 is out, depending on the content, I may or may not make a reaction video to that. Thanks again for watching my video, and I will see you next time.